All right. He moved to Australia, having only really dabbled in Starbucks coffee, no experience in the cafe industry, but that was all about to change. Shinsaku Fukayama, now known as Samurai Shin, would go on to become Australian latte art champion and one of the most recognised faces in the coffee industry. After nearly a decade in Melbourne, he packed up his bags and went back to Japan, not to slow down, but to mix things up with a new cafe venture, Barista Map. Now, today we're going to talk to him about his career in coffee and the differences between the brewing culture in Tokyo to, let's say, us down here in a little cafe in Fitzroy, Melbourne. Welcome to the show, Shin!
Hi.
I'm your host, Rowan Cook.
And I'm Ben Bicknell.
And together,
It's just coffee!
Yay! Don't go anywhere. We're going to have a quick word from one of our sponsors, Apex Lab. Elevate your coffee experience with Apex Lab mineral concentrates. Apex Lab's precision-engineered formulas, including tonic, jam, and lilac, are designed to enhance the coffee's natural flavors. Not going to change it, it's just going to enhance it. It's going to bring out the vibrant acidity, the rich sweetness, or if you use lilac, it might bring out those delicate floral notes that you've been looking for. Trusted by world-class cafes and even barista champions, Apex Lab helps you unlock your coffee's full potential. Discover more at apexlab.com. Wait, where was that again, Sonam?
The internet.
Oh, okay. Thought I was going to say the website. Thanks. Today's episode is brought to you by our amazing sponsors at Eco Barista. The reason I sound like this is because they got massages at our stand at Mice, and so I'm getting a massage while recording this message for you. They're the best sponsor of the pod that we could have had. They have the best eco products. This probably sounds really pornographic, but it's not. I'm just getting a massage. They have the best eco-friendly coffee products. They got coffee bags that you can design yourself. They got cups. They got iced coffee cups. They got everything you need. So make sure to support them because they support us. Head to ecobarista.com.au and get 15% off your first purchase when you sign up. Oh, mama, that's good. Now, welcome to the show. Now, we only just found this out. You got off a plane only a few hours ago and pretty much just came straight here.
Yeah. I just arrived at 6 a.m.
The 6 a.m. arrival. Thank you so much for the dedication, for coming in and gracing us with your presence. Because I tell you what, I wouldn't do that. That is very generous of you with your time. How are you feeling?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah, I just a little bit tired, but I'm okay.
He's okay. We did get you the first request when you walked in was, please, someone make me a coffee, filter coffee. How was
a
it?
moment of panic.
What's amazing, tasty.
It was good?
Thank you.
It's
Yeah.
a delicious little geisha from our friends
say
here at El Pache.
You said Colombia?
Colombia geisha from El Pache here.
Yeah, that was really
Welcome
good.
back to Melbourne.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm
Yeah.
really excited.
Now, before we jump in, first things first, you had a previous connection with someone here on the pod, a little producer sitting behind the desk, Liam. Was your first job working in coffee with Liam?
Yeah, at the local coffee.
Loco Coffee.
Yeah.
Was indeed. Good old times.
What was that like, Liam?
Oh my God. Shin, it's pretty hard to describe Loco for a first kind of experience, but I feel like I was on the cusp of like the generation of the traditional barista upbringing. Double dockets. It was all about like service and pumping out coffee. There was none of these like puck press, thank you. None of that. We're all about that sore wrists and, even there wasn't even like a drainage thing out of the coffee machine. It was into this massive tub.
The bucket.
We had constantly all these things. Anyway, Shin came through and, I had also just learnt I had a couple of years, I think, learning how to make coffee, but then Shin just took my spot.
You taught him how to like etch. You taught him how to do like what, a cat or something in the coffee. What was it?
Yeah, it was a little bear and like
Bear and also the human face.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. The Native American with the headrest, beautiful like little Rosetta and everything.
And then Shin was like, "This latte art is terrible. I'm going to go and learn how to become a free pour master."
Yeah. So, but the takeaway is, I taught Shin everything he knows.
So you want to claim that you were the origins behind the Australian latte art champion?
Yeah. He told me before.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Now, what was it like coming from Japan into Loco?
Yeah,
Loco Cafe?
totally different. I was enjoyable, but the culture is so different. and also the customer service more like friendly.
You're more friendly?
Yeah.
What was the coffee scene like in Japan for you before coming and having this Australian experience?
I think it's more Kisaten style, and then tastes like a more dark roast.
Okay.
Yeah, and more, not like a friendly customer service.
Oh, not friendly.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
More formal, more serious.
Yeah, kind of things. Yeah.
Before you moved to Australia, had you worked in coffee? Had you been a barista before?
No, I was chef, Chinese restaurant. Yeah, my father
Delicious.
had a company, and I learned from him.
And I hear you were also like a professional snowboarder before all this as well.
Yeah.
What was like the best? Were you like doing tricks or racing?
Trick like a half pipe.
A half pipe. Oh
Yeah.
my God. What level are we talking? Like going to the Olympics kind of level? Is that
Kind of things. Yeah, I had a 16 sponsor.
16 sponsors?
Yeah,
Okay. Well, yeah, he's looking at like going
Kinda
to the Olympics
serious.
there. Or X Games.
yeah.
So come to Melbourne, you worked at Loco and then you moved to St. Ali after that as well. Is that
Okay,
correct?
but whoa. I want to go back here because he
Okay.
hadn't been a barista at all in Japan, right? You've
Yeah.
been a chef.
Yeah, I was chef. I didn't know how to make coffee, and I didn't speak English well.
And you're
Yeah,
like,
it's really hard to conversation with Liam when I met him. I totally I couldn't understand what did he say. That's why he speak to Japanese to me.
oh,
yeah.
nice.
On our shifts, actually, we'd argue because Shin was like, "No, you have to talk to me in English
Yeah.
to help me learn." I'm like, "No, I want you to talk to me in Japanese because I want to learn Japanese."
Yeah.
Why Melbourne? Why did you choose? I want to move here. And did you specifically have barista in sight?
Because my father bought the coffee machine, which is small coffee machine. Do you know that DeLonghi?
Yeah, DeLonghi.
Right? And he showed me how to make a cappuccino.
Ah.
And I saw his cappuccino, and he showed me after YouTube what is the coffee festival, and I decided to become barista. But I didn't know how to become barista, right? And I Google where's the best coffee in the world, and I just found Melbourne. And then I Google again where's the best cafe in Melbourne. I just found the same alley.
There's the words of advice. If you want to
Yeah.
go and be the best at something, just type into Google, where is best, insert blank in the world.
Yep.
And where is the best version of that in that place. And then go get a job there.
And then just move across the world to a
Yeah.
whole new country and you don't speak the language. That sounds easy.
Before I expect Italy.
Oh,
It's the best coffee. No, I just
Start.
know as I said, I just know that on YouTube, which is latte art.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that's the thing that you said,
That's why
barista
I
is
started
latte
with
art.
latte art because I didn't know anything about the coffee. I just fall in love with coffee, and then I took a working holiday visa, and then I moved to Australia.
So that would have been interesting. So you had that perspective. You kind of were maybe like, latte art is cool. I want to do that. That's great. But you end up at St. Ali. For those international listeners, one of the kind of founders of specialty coffee here in Australia and one of the best places. And also at that time, you had a couple of the biggest names in coffee working. You worked under the mentorship of Ben Morrow, Matt Perger, who's been on the show. If you haven't listened to that episode, go back and have a listen. It's fantastic. What did that look like? What was the mentorship like? And how did you learn about coffee working at St. Ali? What did you learn there?
Actually, I watched them. He didn't teach me exactly what they do. I just I watched like a movement, kind of things.
For a lot of our listeners, probably started in the barista role, right? It's certainly where I started. I think, Rowan, you were saying that you kind of started in coffee in that space and you kind of go into your first gig. What are the first things you start learning? And I know like workflow is a really big thing.
Yeah,
right?
it's so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a ninja. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And like where you place things is really important. Thinking about what you have to do step by step and how to do it really cleanly. What were some of the biggest things that you observed when you were watching some of these really great coffee professionals?
So when I watch them, I didn't know that always they check the amount of the coffee,
Oh, the scale.
the scale, kind of things. Coffee is kind of a science. That was shocking.
What year are we talking here?
When did I move to Australia?
Yes.
2013.
2013.
Which is,
Okay.
I think, a World Coffee in Melbourne.
Yeah, great timing.
I think Matt Parker, he got a second place.
Did very
Yeah.
well that year.
World Championship.
Launched the EK into the stratosphere.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Peter Licata won.
He did. And
Yeah,
then he
right.
moved to Melbourne.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a beautiful year.
Interesting.
I also
Yeah.
had him on the show.
Nice. So you kind of moved, and 2013 you started working in coffee. A few years later, you started working with Saint Ali. So yeah, weighing of doses and recipes was really starting to kind of take off there. What do you reckon was one of the hardest skills for you to learn?
English.
That's fair.
Yeah,
okay,
no, I'm
okay.
joking.
Coffee skill.
Yeah, coffee skill. I think tasting. So I didn't have experience about the cupping before the become barista. So I just learned how to make a latte or cappuccino flat white at the moment.
I remember, what was your experience like when you jumped into first making coffee? Because I worked at just a restaurant and I got put behind the bar, and then I kind of got into the idea of making coffee and kind of trying to master that. But even at that stage, espresso, I was disgusting.
Yeah,
Like,
same
I
as
was
me.
like, oh.
It's so bitter.
So bitter and
Yeah.
so intense. And it took me that little while. It was then at my next job that was maybe a little bit more specialty than that restaurant that I was working at. Even then, I was still forcing myself to drink it to kind of be cool, and that's what I had to do. And then I kind of grew that appreciation. Also, what was the quality we were having? But what was it like for you starting out, Ben?
I don't know why this started out, but I actually started drinking long blacks as my first kind of real coffee beverage.
Okay.
You like it, or you're just trying to be cool?
Probably both. Mainly seem cool. But I started drinking long blacks, which, aren't the tastiest kind of beverage. And then I started going, well, I don't drink any milk with my coffee. So I started going shorter and shorter, and then got to an espresso, and then kind of dropped in that curve and came back up to short macchiatos and then up to flat whites. So I kind of pursued this
you
other
did the
weird direction.
reverse.
I know,
Yeah.
because I didn't drink any milk in my coffee.
Okay, we're kind of going off topic here, but I just want to dive into this while we're talking about it. So first of all, let's unpack long black not being a tasty drink. It's something we've talked about here in the pod before. I'm going to say the short mac is the worst of all of them. The short macchiato to me is just it's just not enough milk that it gets into this weird yogurty sour. Why just have the short black at that point, or have the piccolo? I feel like the piccolo amount of milk is kind of the minimum you can have if you're going to be adding
For a tasty
steamed
ratio.
milk. Short mac has always just been such a bizarre drink to me that I haven't understood. Your feelings, short mac?
Bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not my preferred beverage.
Yeah.
And then long black. Do you like a long black?
Actually not.
No?
Too watery.
Too watery. Okay,
Yeah.
just too thin.
I guess
More
there's the
filtered.
argument, of if you're going to go that watery, just go for a filter.
But better than Americano.
Better than Americano. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think as well, often long blacks kind of the extractions haven't been dialed in for a long black. And so the extractions have been really set up for a milk-based drink with longer extractions, and then there's nothing to soften out the finish of it. So it could be a little watery, but it could be a little rough and astringent as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, just not a good result. But anyway.
Shin, you mentioned just then the difference between you were a long black is better than an Americano. What's the difference between the two?
I think Americano is more water.
Even more water.
Yes.
Is it still a double shot over the
Double
top?
shot. Yeah.
Okay.
So I would, to me, the Americano is kind of Americans drank drip coffee, and it was their way of having an espresso offering and trying to mimic a drip coffee. So it's a bunch of water then with the double shot kind of dumped over the top. Whereas, often people online will define it as Americano is water with espresso put over the top. Oh, no, other way around.
other way, yes.
Espresso with
Espresso in the
water
water.
over the top.
Yeah.
And then a long black
yeah.
is the water with the espresso extracted over the top. It gets that better crema look, textural feel and that kind of thing. But I would say in general, Americano probably has more water from my experience being over there. But it's different in every shop you go to. So it's a hard
depending on
one
the
to
shop.
really pin down.
Can I also ask you, Shin, what do you drink? What did you drink as a chef?
You mean now?
No, all the way back. Your first coffee, for Ben.
In your Starbucks.
Yeah.
Americano. That's why I don't like it. Yes.
You had too much of it.
Too much watery. Yeah, that's why.
Then what was the progression?
Americano, long black,
Yep.
and then milk base and the filter.
Now to filter.
Yeah.
Do you just drink exclusively filter now?
Yeah, filter.
Which is hilarious, seeing that you were the Australian latte art champion. You're like, no.
I used to drink milk. Yeah, a lot.
A lot
when
of
I was
milk.
in here.
Well, you had to if you were pouring like 500 coffees a day. Like, I better drink some of these. So, I mean, speaking of that, we should talk about the latte art experience because that was kind of your shoot to stardom in the coffee industry. You earned the nickname Samurai Shin because of your amazing precision and skill-based pouring. Is that correct? Not because you actually had a samurai and were attacking people?
I don't know. They call me. Yeah. But before that, I used the samurai jug.
The jug.
Yes.
The jug, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
So you kind of talked a little bit about like seeing latte art online was why you got into it and that kind of first love of it. You won a whole heap of accolades. 2016 Coffee Fest World Latte Art Champion, 2018 Australian Latte Art Champion, and 2019 second in the Coffee Masters in the USA. How do you see latte art has affected your career in coffee?
But actually, I wasn't falling in love with latte art. I was just falling in love with coffee.
Ah, okay.
Yes. People think me, I think, love latte art. But I didn't know about latte art without other thing. Yeah.
Right. But has it had, what impact has all of those accolades, all of those awards had on your career? Did you get to travel lots?
Yeah, a lot. To Europe and also to USA and to Asia as well.
I mean, that's pretty amazing. Like if you're someone that's young and looking at like being a barista, like the idea that you could pursue something that's going to get you sent all around the world is awesome. I mean, there's also other areas, like obviously if you get into the sourcing and roasting side of things, you get to travel around to origin and like meet so many farmers and do that. So it's cool avenues that just beyond being a barista in a local cafe, there are all these different avenues that can kind of open up the world to you.
Well, what got you excited about competing?
Because I think I want to growing more skill. Just want to grow.
Yeah.
That's why I keep going.
It kind of helps you focus on a particular skill.
Yeah. So for me, it's not important to become a champion. So I just want to keep learning to be better.
That's easy to say if you are a champion. As the Australian latte art champion, being the champion doesn't really matter.
No.
He's so humble and so kind. But tell us what 2018 Australian latte art champion, huge, such an accomplishment. How much time and effort in training needs to be allocated to achieve that? Like how much work were you putting in behind the scenes?
Much time. 16 hours?
16 hours what?
Yeah. So 8 hours work and 8 hours training.
Oh,
like 16 hours a day.
Eesh.
But how many days a week?
7 days.
7 days.
Yes.
So you were training 8 hours just dedicated to latte art every single day?
Yeah, because I think it's I love the hard work and I have like a discipline.
I mean, that is discipline. That is more than a full-time job on top of a full-time job.
Yeah, it's incredible. In preparing for the competition, in that training, were there particular areas that you were focusing on? Like, were you very targeted of, I have to get better at texturing or I have to get better at kind of the pouring mechanism or?
Yes, I practice pouring as well and meditation or something like that.
Okay.
And then go to gym.
So this was part of your training, not just on steaming and preparing.
Yes, total. It was work. It was 2 hours go to 2 hours at the gym, and then 2 hours I think pouring, and then 2 hours like other thing.
That's really great. I think having seen so many competitors and competitions, there's having the skill that you can turn out in the cafe, and turning that out in a busy cafe is a whole skill set in itself, like coffee after coffee. But then being able to go on stage and master the stress and the nervousness.
Yeah, nervousness.
Especially pouring. I mean, I competed in cup tasting for Australia and that I was so nervous. I was like scooping up liquid and just shaking. It's like I didn't do enough meditation.
Yeah, that's why I do I did a meditation. I think preparation is more important for the make a component.
Because you never understand. There's always like the little local barista that will enter like a latte art smackdown or something like that. And they just don't understand that pressure of like once everyone's turned in looking at you and you just see the shakes come in, it's a different beast altogether.
I never joined to the SmackDown.
Oh, no?
Yeah, I just joined the Australian Championship.
Yeah.
2015.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So only the championship circuits.
Yeah, because I didn't know anything.
But
Other competition. Yeah.
Coffee
Yeah.
Masters was quite a different competition.
It's
yes?
hard. Yeah, it's really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have 7 categories.
Did you have to prepare and train differently for that competition?
Yes, I need to do cupping, brewing, signature drinks, and also the latte art, and the ordering, and the origin, and the espresso base. 7 categories.
Range of stuff. And so if you had all this huge experience with latte art and practicing so much, I'm sure you get asked all the time, how can I improve my latte art? Do you have your top 2 or 3 tips that you would give to people for how to improve their pours?
I think they need just hard work.
just hard work. There's so many different techniques. I know I make like a couple of coffees a week on an espresso machine these days, and so my latte art is not very good.
I'm all right at like the basics of like the Rosetta, the Tulip, the Heart, like all the just free pour stuff. But I can't do any of the like next level like drawing on the top,
No.
Victor Vu tried to teach me how to do a snail once and it just was terrible.
I think he can do that. Yeah.
Liam.
I don't know.
Nah,
No.
Liam can't do that. He can etch.
I was going to actually ask Shin, did you actually practice like art outside of
I
only...
was terrible.
It's amazing
Yes, I
how
was
many of the
terrible there.
latte artists are like, oh no, I can't draw. I'm like
I can
stick
draw.
figures.
I was terrible.
Yeah. Can you
Yeah.
draw now though? Has it made you a better artist with like a paint or a pen? Can you do it now?
No.
No, just one of the world's best latte artists. But
That is actually quite crazy to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did art all through school, and I guess that's why etching kind of made sense to me, that kind of technique. Yeah, the fact that a latte artist, it doesn't translate.
I think some people don't. Yeah, it's a very good drawing or something,
But
or the
then-
pouring.
Transferring that to how you can direct milk in liquid like that is pretty crazy. I find this really interesting because, like you said, a lot of people know you for latte art, but you're saying that's not all I am. Okay, you know a lot more, and it's in fact you fell in love with coffee as
Yeah.
a whole.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that excite you most about coffee?
Now,
Yeah,
roasting.
roasting. Yes.
But I studied roasting 2014.
oh, really?
Yeah, from Click Simon.
Oh, right.
Yes, he taught me how to.
Great
roasting.
instructor.
Interesting smell
Oh, yeah.
and everything. I love the roasting and
So a bit of the art, a little bit of the science, the sensory.
like a more shokunin style.
Yeah.
Dedication to mastery.
That's quite a big influence in Japanese culture in terms of how people approach their skill development, isn't it? Can you explain for us a little bit more about what does that look like for
I
different?
think they just
different
focus
jobs?
on one thing. That's why I said that dedication and the mastery.
Because, I mean,
It's
it
culture.
must be that dedication to mastery, right? Because I've found that when I was a barista, the idea of roasting coffee seemed so cool. Like when you're in the cafe, you're like, yeah, I want to roast it. But most people that I know that get into roasting can't handle standing there for 8 hours straight.
Yeah.
Just doing
Yeah.
it. They're like, this is
I
like-
love that.
You love it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you get through those long days of just standing there roasting?
I just enjoy. Yes, I love that.
That's
I love
amazing.
the talking to customer as well. Of course, I love the making coffee in front of a customer, but totally different. Yeah.
So going from Australia, you've gone back to Japan, you've started Barista Map. Can you just tell us a little bit about Barista Map?
Yeah, we have a barista school, which is education, the skill, and also the coffee knowledge.
And you're roasting as well, and
course.
then have a cafe.
Yeah, we do 4 brunch, and then one is a small coffee take-out stand, and then we move to the small stand to Shinsaibashi, a little bigger. We also have kome mame. Kome means rice, and mame means coffee. Onigiri and the coffee.
Oh, that's
nice.
sick.
Yeah, I started it.
okay.
It's really unique.
That
Yeah.
sounds
So
delicious.
cool.
Yeah.
I want that right now. I'm starving.
Yeah,
I
we
kinda-
do pop up at St. Ali, 4th of July.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
This
onigiri and
year?
the coffee. Yeah,
soon.
Yeah, please.
Yeah,
Please
okay.
come to here. Yeah.
We'll hopefully get along to that.
Yeah.
Now, from what you learned in Melbourne, did you implement going back to Japan?
I do kind of Melbourne style.
Yeah, Melbourne style. Is that very different from Japan now, or is it kind of starting to grow and be more of a common thing?
I think
there?
increasing, culture now.
Because you came to Australia, got this big deep dive into the coffee world, what coffee tastes like, how it's roasted, how the extraction.
Yeah, it's
And
more
then-
science.
Yeah, and then when you went back to Japan and started your own business, could you do the same thing?
Yeah, same thing.
Okay, and customers were happy with that style of coffee. Okay, great. Because the preference for different coffees in Japan has changed quite a bit over the past 10, 15 years.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. How would you say it has changed?
I didn't know before the 10 years ago, but I think it's more, it was dark roast, but now people like light roast.
And what do you think some of the most important lessons you learnt about coffee business in Australia that helped you when you started in Japan?
I learned so many things from Samurai Coffee Company. I learned the management and I learned the marketing things and also the how to build a team
Yeah, all
relationship.
pretty critical things if you want
it's
to
really hard.
step into your new business.
Yeah, especially I started my company 2020 COVID-19. It was really hard.
Yeah, it's a tough time.
Yeah.
I was in Japan maybe like 15 years ago, and there was definitely like specialty coffee shops like popping up even then. And as well in Japan, whenever I'd go into a shop, it was interesting how much they knew about Australian coffee. Like they'd be like, "Are you from Australia?" And then they'd just start listing off cafes to me. They'd be like, Proud Mary, St. Ali, and really have this deep knowledge of it, what was cool. Is there a big difference going into a cafe in Japan versus, say, like in Australia? What would be the biggest difference you would find?
I think Australia has a more brunch style. In Japan, has a more sweet, like a cafe style
So pastries and kind of-
pastry or something like that. Yeah.
and if we were going to head over to Japan, we definitely need to do that a little. It's Just Coffee Japan edition.
I'd love to.
If someone was going to Japan, they're really into coffee, what should be something that they need to check out?
I think they need to go to the kissaten, which is the old style. And
Can you explain what is this style of cafe?
kissaten is like a coffee and a tea. And also, like, do you know the katsu sando?
Yeah. Love a katsu sando.
Is that popular in Australia?
It is now.
Okay.
I mean, all that, it's crazy seeing the two. Like, Japanese culture has influenced, like, so much here. Like, even the 7-Eleven egg sandwiches and, like, all that side of things. So much has kind of come back from that. Speaking of things that have come over, matcha is so popular in Australia right now. But my concern is it the matcha that's being had in Japan? Because if you get a matcha here, 99% of them are lots of iced, lots of milk, syrup, and matcha. Are Westerners, are we butchering matcha? Well, how would matcha be served in Japan?
I think it's like more the sado style.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it a real matcha?
Yeah, I think so. Like different
Okay.
places will have like different grades, like,
Oh, okay.
you know.
I see.
But yeah, there's lots of matcha here that's ported over the ceremonial grade, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, then there's like cafe grade matcha and that, which maybe isn't as...
A lot of it's being served as like matcha lattes and kind of that style of things, maybe
Okay.
with some additions. But this is not what you would normally experience.
It's like really popular. Like it's so common that I think the standard
With the espresso?
offerings. No, not so
Okay.
much. No, no.
Some people have done a dirty matcha, but no.
With espresso. Wow.
Yeah,
Matcha?
with espresso.
but not so commonly. But
No.
like the menu, you would have like obviously you have your coffee, your black coffee, hot chocolate, chai, and matcha. Matcha is now, I reckon,
Matcha's the new chai. I've like taken
Yeah.
over that.
I
yeah,
for
I
sure.
was about to
see.
say that.
Yeah.
So chai is not popular now.
Not as popular, no.
Matcha. It's taking it off.
Wow.
It was so popular globally that there was shortages from all the farms in Japan, and stores got to a point where they were only allowing you to buy a certain gram amount matcha per customer. Like you could only buy 80 grams per customer because the demand was so high.
Is it a powder from Japan?
Yeah.
Import?
Yeah.
I see.
I'm sure. Yes, in most
Okay.
cases, but I'm sure there's...
One of the biggest things that always strikes me about Japanese culture is also the service of hospitality or the high quality hospitality. And so there's a Japanese concept of omotenashi. Can you explain for everyone what is that and what does that look like in a cafe environment?
It's more excellent customer service. I think we need before they expect what they want to. we do the service.
Oh, before they even know what they want. You just,
for
you bring it
example,
to
if
them.
they want to the napkin, right? If it's before they ask me to do a napkin, so we need to
Napkin before they even ask for
that's
it.
what we call the omotenashi. Yeah,
Okay.
expecting.
If I can bring it into a life experience, I've been watching The Bear lately, the TV series, and that's definitely the vibe that gets me jazzed whenever I'm watching that cousin, the character in that show, whenever he's just like preempting and bringing that amazing hospitality service to the customers. I just get like butterflies and I'm like floating. It makes me so happy.
Have you had an experience about omotenashi?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's
How's the
amazing.
feeling?
I think it's
Okay.
incredible. And we have been talking a lot about how Australian and other cafes can create a point of difference, right? And how they can improve the customer experience. And I think this approach to obsessing about your customer is so important. It's the thing that will lift that feeling, even if the coffee is the same as other places. If you know you are being taken care of, you feel way better and will go back there. So I think we have a lot to learn.
And I think Australia needs to take that on, you know, especially as we want to try to hold our place in one of the best coffee countries in the world, which, you know, a lot of people are now saying they're putting Japan over, you know, Australia or Melbourne or Sydney, wherever. And I think that experience here needs to go next level, because there's even like omakase experiences in Japan, right?
Yeah.
How does that work?
It's quite popular. They serve the 2 or 3 of the filter coffee, and you can you can choose the milk-based coffee, the signature drink, something like that.
Oh, like a signature drink. So it's almost
Yeah.
like a World Barista Champion setup where you
exactly.
do like the espresso base, the milk base, and then a signature,
and
throw in a filter there for good measure.
And then the barista explain what they like.
Yeah.
For the making coffee.
Which makes so much sense now, because there are so many cafes that like that's the kind of thing that you need if you're a specialty coffee shop here to A, show off the range of what you're serving, B, people aren't complaining anymore about a $7 coffee, because if you're getting an experience of 4 or 5 things, dropping down $40, $50, that's fine when it's this beautiful, amazing experience where you're communicating and chatting with the barista. So what a way to kind of upsell on that market there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's the small version of that, which is the barista breakfast, right? That's more popular around. So you have your espresso, your milk-based, and a little filter coffee. And that's kind of a nice way to go. But that added service, I think, is really key, is how do we keep creating value and educating as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
I actually like the idea of like, you know, obviously we're seeing a rise of like signature drinks and like coffee clouds, matcha clouds, all this kind of stuff. But I like a signature drink in the context of starting from the base as well, like having the filter coffee of the single origin bean or the espresso moving into a milk and then experiencing it in a world of other flavors and things that are happening. Like that is a beautiful storytelling experience to take a guest on. And especially if there's someone that's not that into coffee, they can be like, oh, okay, I'm getting blueberries or I'm getting jasmine or whatever it is from this coffee. And then seeing how that can play an integral part as an ingredient in a bigger drink is really cool.
I love kind of breaking that down and exploring new flavors, right? And you said that your barista map is doing some education. Are you getting a lot of consumers coming through for education, or is it mainly coffee professionals?
Both.
Both. Okay, great. And you talking to them, you said one of your early experiences was as a barista yourself, was needing to learn how to taste.
Yeah.
Is that a big area that you still find people need some support with?
They need to first, I think, understand about taste before we try to. That's why we have a coffee school. And then if they want to take a different class, we have a full class actually, bicycles and milk latte art class, brewing class, and the roasting class. But we prefer they need to understand the taste first.
No matter what class they do, you do cupping
We
first?
do cupping first, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
Otherwise, it's hard to get the goal. Yeah.
What are you aiming towards when you're making coffee?
Yeah.
Not just a pretty picture on the milk.
So our coffee school, we actually not only teaching the coffee skill and the knowledge, that we educated the more mindset first.
And And the hard-hitting question, who has a better coffee culture, Australia or Japan?
It's a hard question for me.
Well,
I love both.
No, we need a definitive answer.
Oh, really?
And you need to say one is great and one sucks.
Mine is great. Mine sucks.
No.
I think totally different because in Japan, as I said, more the hospitality, and in Australia, it's more friendly. Yeah, I like both.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a fair answer.
Both got a lot to offer.
Now, I've said it on the pod before. It's interesting with latte art because there are, some people will be like, who cares? Just pour it in the cup and do it. But I've always said latte art does make the coffee taste better. And by that, I mean, it doesn't technically make the coffee taste better. I mean, first of all, you can say you eat with your eyes. So if it looks good, it's going to taste good. But to be able to get latte art, the milk needs to be the right texture, the right temperature. It needs to all come in. So seeing latte art is more just a signifier that a lot of things have gone right to get to that point. The coffee has been brewed well with a nice crema. The milk has been textured well. It's probably at the right temperature. So it's not as much that makes it taste good, but it's just a signifier that the person who's making your coffee cares, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely a signal that you're walking into a specialty focused place, although it has become more and more popular and lots of people are pouring it. And again, the coffee might not taste that great underneath. So it kind of is both, right? You want to lead people in and then back it up with some really great stuff in the cup. What are some of the coffees that you're most excited about that Barista Map is roasting?
Panama?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to Panama 2 years ago, which is the Finca de Bora and Esmeralda.
Is that some of the coffee? What have you bought here for the coffee weekend?
We serving Panama, yes, Finca de Bora.
People are going to be listening to this once it's already happened, so too bad, but they sound delicious.
Yeah.
We will confirm it was delicious.
Yeah.
This episode's going to be coming out just after coffee weekend.
And then I also just wanted to ask, for someone looking to start a career as a barista, what advice do you have for them for kind of making a career out of it?
I think I was really lucky. Environment. I was working at Samurai and also the local coffee as well.
But I was really lucky. No, you weren't. You were
Hardworking, dedicated.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You were in Japan and you looked up where is the best coffee, what is the best cafe, and then you moved to a country where you didn't speak the language to pursue this. I don't think there's anything to do with luck in it, and then dedicated hours and hours of time and mastery to become one of the best in the world at latte art and at making coffee. So I think there's a lot to learn from that, of dedication and being persistent. And what you want to do, put your mind to it. I mean, I'll chime in. I've said it before, but the biggest advice I can give is find somewhere like you did with St. Ali, where the mentorship that you can get is so powerful. I've said it before. My first job for 2 years, within 2 weeks, I'd learnt double the amount that I've ever learned at that next cafe. Then the next cafe was even better. And I learned more than I'd learned in the previous spot within 2 weeks again. So finding those people that care is number one thing. And number two, if you're dedicated and want to put in the time and you show that to a business owner, that is so valuable and they will gobble it up. So if you put in the time, the hours, if you have to start by washing dishes and then jumping on the machine, if you don't have any experience in the quieter hours, and that's how you get your foot in, just do it at the right place and learn from the right people. And that's the way to passion is always going to get you far.
Yeah. Did you find any moments in your coffee journey that were the biggest help?
I think they need to find a role model first.
Like Ron saying that mentor.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
Mentor, role model.
Role model, yeah. And then, as I said, environment. I think when I moved to Melbourne, I just intuition. I didn't think I know anything. Just Google, and then just moved to Melbourne, like an intuition.
Such a good story.
So do you think that the barista role is something that can be a long-term career for someone?
I think so.
Yes. Do you still consider yourself a barista or more a business owner?
I think more nowadays business owner.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to build and organize a team, and then also I think I want to contribute for the more society in Japan.
But so much of what led you to be able to get to being a business owner is through the skills of being a great barista. If people were looking to transition from barista to business owner, what are some of the things you think they really need to learn?
I think management.
Management.
And then also the meditation.
Meditation.
Yeah, so stressful.
Yeah.
So much going on.
How to manage their own kind of
Yeah.
mental space in order to be a good people manager.
And it all falls on you.
Yeah, so many things.
Lots of
But I learn.
responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. I can learn
New skills.
and growing, which is great.
Now, one thing, and this might be a bit off the cuff, but we, at the end of every show, we want to bring a bit of positivity into the world and give you the chance to shout out someone in the coffee industry that you think is doing an amazing job.
I think Amy, yes. Yeah, it's great. She got a second place last year, and then she goes to final this year. I hope to see become champion this year.
Right.
Yeah, me. Yeah, me. We also have another segment, but I can't do the lead in, Rowan. You've got to do this.
I mean, I kind of threw mine out there. Was that jumping into the extra hot takes with 2 sugars?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
kind of burned mine. Do you have one?
No, I got nothing.
Well,
but
then
does
what-
Shin have something?
See, in Japan, yes, they need to change in wages.
Oh, change wages?
Yeah, they
What's
need
it like in Japan for the wages?
So cheap.
Oh, yeah?
Like it's good for owner, but it's not good for the I think staff. So that's why I change a lot of things.
What's it like? Do we have like a comparison to like Australian dollar? Is there some kind of idea that you could
I think
give us?
$10 or something.
Like $10.
$10 an hour.
$10 an hour. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's what I was earning at my first job down in George's in Camberwell. $10 an hour.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah.
okay.
It's moved on a little bit since
Oh,
then.
yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's the minimum wage now?
In Australia,
Yeah.
I think it's 25 or 30 or something like that.
$25 to $30, depending on the role and obviously different awards.
Which I think for the rest of the world, like that's actually crazy for all our listeners. Like our minimum wage here in Melbourne being 25 an hour as a barista or making coffee or something like that is like unheard of for the
Oh, man.
majority
Catch
of the world.
those baristas on a public holiday. They're just like dancing
Yeah.
behind the machine.
How much is the public holiday?
Well, you can get like what? Some
Double
places
time.
at double time or 2.5 times even
Mhm.
sometimes at some places. So if they're earning $25, they could be earning anywhere from like $50 to $60 an hour.
Why so high wages in Australia? That's why
Like
so
to
many.
take care of
I
people.
think Japanese people move to Australia,
Yeah, there's a good. Now we've cracked it.
right?
After all that, this is why we have so many great Japanese baristas coming to Melbourne
Yeah,
in Australia.
definitely.
That's why I want to change the coffee industry in Japan.
Mainly on wages or other changes as well.
Of course, of wages as well, and then change the coffee society.
Well, that's a great. I mean, as a business owner and saying that, that's an amazing thing to be saying, and that's really the right thing. And your priorities are in order, so that's a very honourable thing and amazing.
What do you think about the Japanese coffee culture?
I went quite a while ago, so my take on it wouldn't be as current and culturally relevant as like what's happening. But you've been more recently,
Been
right?
a few times, yep. But I mean, I think that it was interesting when I went that, and this is again a few years ago, so things have probably changed. But there was these 2 different kind of channels or streams of coffee. There was the older school, older people who expected a very dark roast. And that was quite surprising to me, just how dark. And because coffee is often drunk black in Japan in the past as well. And so it was very surprising that there was this very intense kind of black coffee
Very
drink.
strong, yeah.
And then there was the younger, kind of newer wave of specialty coffee that was changing. And there were some beautiful, delicious coffees there. But the thing that was very interesting for me about Japanese coffee culture was, again, those things we talked about of the service and the dedication to the craft.
Yeah.
They are uniquely Japanese, and it was very exciting to see how they came out in the coffee space. I think that there's a lot of very innovative and very fine-tuned coffee being served out in the Japanese coffee culture.
From an outsider's point of view as well, not having experienced it myself, I think the different levels of the service and hospitality and how that is also something that's kind of elevating and sounds really amazing. Like obviously we talked about the omakase and that kind of style of doing it. Feels like a really cool way to represent coffee, and it just makes a lot of sense. I mean, it comes back to it feels like the World Barista Championship serving up your 3 different beverages.
Yeah.
How about what do you think increase the price?
Of coffee?
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough.
Yeah. In the cup, the
Yeah.
cup price. Is that happening in Japan?
Oh, the actual selling of the coffee of like that price. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing. It kind of, again, we talked about a few times on the pod, it kind of distinguishes, it makes a gap in the middle, right? You either have like the cheaper, more affordable, or things start costing a little bit more and you have to offer that experience or high-end service and that kind of thing.
And I think that it relies on a lot of education, might be the wrong word, because it talks about it's a kind of a patronizing of your customers, a little way of, I'm going to educate you about good coffee. But it is helping create value is important. And so helping them understand new flavors, new information, so that they can have a greater value around their coffee experience.
Like a presentation.
Yes. And what do you think? How are you approaching pricing coffee with Barista Map?
We actually, the high price is $20
For 1 cup?
for filter. But our coffee is more filter is popular.
So are you finding any resistance from consumers about paying $20?
I think they're happy to pay for the $20 because we actually, for barista, because they are good presentation to the customers.
Yeah, it's about the experience, the education, all those sides of like, you're not just putting $20 down and getting a cup put in front of you. It's the whole experience.
The good coffee, the good service, and the good presentation. And also the cafe staff is my barista school student.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. She is actually my student 2019 in Melbourne.
Oh,
cool.
Yeah.
Nice. You're obviously a good teacher.
Oh, I hope so. Yeah.
Here in Melbourne, it's like automatically, if we're having like a Japanese roasted or like anything, we're happy to pay that premium. It's interesting that a barista's wage is much lower in Japan, but it's like the birthplace of those kind of higher elevated experiences. How much is like a normal coffee in Japan? Like I know it's probably different because what people have is like there's more filter being drunk.
I think it's $6 or something like that.
Yeah, so it's quite
about the
similar.
same.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's similar. Yeah, Australia. I think how much a latte?
In
$4.50?
$4.50, $5.50, depends
Yeah,
where.
I think similar.
But I think the big thing that we heard about Japanese cafe culture is that the rent is very expensive.
Yeah.
So for you as a business owner, maybe wages are a little cheaper, but rent is very expensive.
Yeah, exactly. Depends on the location as well. But my location is Shinsaibashi, which is a tourist area. It's a little bit high. Yeah, rent is.
So what are your customers like in this store? Like, is it locals? Do you get a lot of tourists coming in?
50% tourists, 50% local.
So for people who are visiting Japan and want to come and visit Barista Map, where can they find you?
In Shinsaibashi.
Yes. Okay. And this is your cafe and the roastery and training school?
Roastery is a little bit far.
And where can they find out more information on social media?
Instagram at Barismap and at Shinsaku Samurai.
Well, that about brings us to the end of the episode. Shin, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Thank you for traveling all the way from Japan just to see us. Nothing else. Well, you would have missed it here, but the coffee weekend just happened with some amazing coffees. They were very lucky to have you. Thank you for spending time with us. Listeners out there, if you want to get in contact with us, it's hello@itsjustcoffeepod.com. You can also hit us up on the socials at itsjustcoffee.podcast. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple or wherever right now, hit the little subscribe button. We are doing our best job at bringing you the biggest names in coffee, unpacking all the issues that you want to hear about and making a better coffee future together. Ben, you are beautiful. You're a beautiful man. Shin,
I know.
You are beautiful.
Oh, thank you very much.
This is probably two of the most beautiful men in coffee sitting opposite me at the table here. So that's a little sizzle if you want to watch the videos on YouTube because it's just two good looking guys. Ben, what was that thing you wanted to tell me? You were saying it earlier. You were like, I really want to tell everyone.
Oh, yeah. Matcha is the new coffee.
Oh, I forgot about
With
that.
espresso?
Yeah, not with espresso.
See you later, guys. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Sayonara.
Sayonara.